Well, hello everyone. Hello and welcome to the next episode of CyberJar podcast. Today I am super excited, friends, because today is a very, very special guest here with me in the studio. The man who actually doesn't need any introduction, but still I think I'm going to introduce him. He's a Spring Developer Advocate, Java champion, author, podcaster, YouTuber, Java celebrity, everything. Welcome, Josh Long.
Hi, how are you doing? Good to see you again, my friend. Happy
How are
holidays
you,
to y'all.
Josh? How
Good.
are you?
I just realized as we were as the music was playing that I had Spriggan Developer Advocate, and
Well,
so
that's the end
so
of the year. We are tired,
yeah.
so.
I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. Like it's December. I need to. Yeah. Anyway, I work on the Spring team. That's the word. So if you saw the other one and you left the video, I hope you come back and you see that it's actually a different word.
How many
Good
how
to see
many
you.
talks did you give this year? Did you count?
No, no. No, because I talk to a good mix of customers. I talk to a good mix of the community events and jugs, and I do remote events like this. I don't even know.
Mhm.
There's hundreds of entries in my. We keep a spreadsheet of everything I'm supposed to appear at. So,
I
hundreds
see.
of different conversations, but I'm not sure. They're
Is
all
there
basically talks.
is there any event that was especially memorable to you this year? Any
Especially what?
conference? Especially memorable to you, especially something that you remember?
Oh,
The most like exciting one.
I don't know actually.
There are so many,
Um,
right?
Yeah, there's a lot of. I mean, the conference scene is just amazing now. Like there's this great ecosystem. I was just at a. This was an event. I was not a speaker. I was an attendee, and I was just at this one. There's an MCP. MCP, the Model Context Protocol.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, like I'm really trying to keep on top of all the AI goodness out there. And we have the Spring AI project, and last year they announced this. MCP stuff, this protocol back in November of last year, and I don't remember November. I mean, it's so long ago, but basically that protocol is only a year and a month old, and
Yeah.
so I got invited to this Work OS holiday party from MCP. It was called MCP night,
Mm-hmm.
and they have like a dress code, so I had to go buy a suit because I don't have. Why would I have a suit? I'm working
Oh my.
software. So I went and bought a suit and I got all dressed up and oh, there was like 1,500 people, maybe 1,000, 1,500 people. I don't know. It was in
Oh
a
wow.
ballroom. It was in a ballroom, not a
Wow.
conference venue. It was like they
That's
had
serious.
balconies and an amazing sound system and stage, and there was two full bars. It was just incredible. Like
Did they do
the
the
whole
dancing? The ballroom
no, there was
dancing?
it was they had because remember people were meant normally you would dance in that space, but they were
Yeah.
using it as an opportunity with a stage to have a tech exhibit. They had the people that worked on, they had the Linux Foundation guy and David Soria Para who works on MCP
Yeah.
from Anthropic, and all these people flew in and they were in this panel, and there was a bunch of lightning talks that came before that, and all of it was pretty good, pretty fun, and I just remember that room was that was it's a very expensive venue. Here in San Francisco, I
Yeah.
live in San
Yeah.
Francisco, and very very expensive venue, and there was a lot of people dressed up, and the energy in that room was like, wow, people are really excited. They talked about how MCP, the guy that works at the Linux Foundation, because remember they just donated the MCP stuff, the specification, all that, to the Linux Foundation, and the guy that works at the Linux Foundation, the big cheese there, he said something basically like, "Hey, Kubernetes was a foundational piece of infrastructure, and it made a
Yeah.
lot of people very rich and very successful, right?
Yeah.
And he thinks MCP is going to be the same thing, like." And the whole room like burst into cheers, and like I was just there's so much energy. I mean, there's excitement around that. It's really exciting, So I'm not sure if that's the most memorable of the year, but it's the most recent. And it was really here in San Francisco. There's a whole energy that people. You've got to be here to feel it. It's just
Yeah.
there's nothing like it around AI. I mean, this is the birth of AIs here in this little city. So,
And there's a comment here from the audience that
oh
AI
yeah,
can afford expensive stuff. Well, yeah, I agree totally. I mean, I have never seen actually. I have never been to an event where software developers, where people from the IT industry actually wore suits. I mean, I
me
have never.
either.
I mean, no,
Nope, nope, nope,
it's just
nope.
so weird.
It
All
is
right,
weird.
friends. Yeah, friends, please write where you are joining us from. Say hi. We are going to be very happy to chat with you. Ask any questions to Josh. That's a great opportunity, or to me, to your humble servant, if you need to. And we will try to answer them to the best of our abilities. And so
Yeah.
the topic of our talk today is Spring Boot 4, which was released 2 weeks ago, right? Three? 3
November 20th. Is that right? I feel like that's right. I
Yeah,
could be
yeah, yeah,
wrong.
yeah. So about three
Um,
weeks ago, and it already brought us some very, very exciting features. And I'm personally very happy about JSpecify
oh yeah.
that it got very improved, right, in this release. And what's your favorite new feature,
Oh,
Josh, in this release?
I don't know. Declarative interfaces are pretty amazing. The resilience features, I mean, just a lot, like yeah, I don't know. That's a good one. I love the security stuff because security is one of those things where
Yeah.
it delivers like you can charge money for security. That's a real feature that like
Yes.
I mean what I'm saying is uh it's really, really hard, to do that correctly. So um anything you
Yeah.
can do in security to make life easier for people, I'm a huge fan of that. And so Spring Security 7 has a bunch of cool stuff there. Let's just talk about it. I'd love to show you a quick demo or
Sure.
two.
Of course. Of course.
Um, okay, so let's dive right into it. Do you mind if I share my screen?
Of course.
Okay.
Uh,
Ooh, good evening from
Good
Germany.
evening
Yeah,
from Germany. Yeah.
it's
Oh,
it's evening on a Friday night in Europe, and people are hanging out watching us talk about software, and I
oh yeah.
love that. I love our
It's
community.
1 a.m. in Almaty where I am, so it's already night, and yeah, I couldn't be more happy actually. So
Oh, well, thank you.
yeah.
Allow to share screen. Yes. Share
Mm-hmm.
entire screen. Aha.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to build an application as always. We're going to build a quick application here. I'm going to call this Beautiful, and I'm going to use Spring Boot 4. I'm going to use Java 25. I love, by the way, it's a new generation, but obviously you could still use Java 17, but we very, very,
Yeah.
very adamantly discourage that, right? You should never use Java 17. We
Of
have
course.
two radio boxes here. By the way, does that work if I zoom in?
Oh, that looks very weird. I don't see your screen anymore.
But do you
I
see a
mean, I
giant
can see
cursor?
that. I can only see the pointer. I can
Oh,
see the
good. So it
pointer.
does work. Okay, so we have
Yeah.
three radio boxes here. These three radio boxes they imply a choice where really there is no choice. The only version
Yeah.
of Java you should be using today is Java 25, obviously. And one of my favorite features in Java is Java 25 is this. They finally made this possible. So I'm going to go over here and I'll create a little script and I'll open this script up and I'll write a little program. And then in the program, I'll say print line hi, semicolon, and write that out.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to execute this like this, right? So what that is I ran that program through the Java interpreter. It compiled it, but then I didn't have to compile it. So it's kind of like the script. So you know what that means? What that is for the very first time we have a good JavaScript. This is the first one, okay?
Mm-hmm.
In the
Yeah.
entirety of the history, we've never had good JavaScript, but now we do.
Oh
And
yeah.
also notice that
Finally, yeah. Finally, some good JavaScript. Yeah.
exactly.
Something
And
that I can
finally,
be proud about. Mhm.
there's no class around this top
Yeah.
level method either. So it is like me, classless. Okay, so I love Java 25, so we'll use that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
There are
add
tons
GraalVM
of
native image support.
cool features in Java 25. I mean, lots
Yeah,
of goodies. So
love it.
please, if you have the opportunity to migrate to that as soon as possible, it's going to be awesome.
100%.
You're going to be very happy.
All
Yeah.
right. We want some security. Let's go ahead and add some
Of
security. We
course.
want some Spring security. What else do we need? I think that's. Oh, we want the web stuff.
Mhm.
So web. Oh, I already had that web. And I also want the HTTP client support. Notice that these are now
Yeah.
separate
Mhm.
concerns.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm going to open this up. I have another JavaScript in my operating system, which is aliased by UAO. So I'll say UAO. It means unzip and open. So I'll give the zip file and it'll unzip and open it for me. Okay, and Oh, this is the new IntelliJ. My first time using it. That's nice. Oh, look at that. They got ads in the
Oh,
IDE.
yeah.
Uh, what do we
So
got
let's
here?
see, like
I
unboxing real life.
yeah. It
Yeah.
looks nice. It's round and stuff. It's
Yeah.
pretty. Let's see. They've got unified distribution. Okay, I knew about that. Command completion. Nice. Islands theme. Is that the round things? I like that. Spring Boot 4 and Spring Framework 7 support. Haha. Java 25,
Mm.
of course. Spring Data JVC. Oh my God. Oh,
Yeah.
we should do a separate video on this. This is also good.
Yeah,
Okay. So,
definitely. So,
so
mhm.
anyway, application. It's going to be talking to a database. Wow, my first time using this, so hopefully I'll be able to get through this demo. Spring data source, URL, JDBC is Postgres. I've got a database running on my local machine, right? And we're going to build a little an application that deals with animals, dogs and cats and
Ooh,
etc.
love that.
So that kind of yeah. Do you have animals?
Oh yes, I have a dog and
Oh,
recently got a cat.
oh,
Yeah, so they are not exactly like cat and dog, but while you're typing, I can just grab my beautiful Frenchie
yeah,
who is doing live streams with me too. He's a co-host.
right.
All right, here we go.
So I'm just building up a domain model to talk to our SQL database here. And let's just
Well,
let's just
cheese.
confirm that it works. Hello.
Yeah.
Oh, let me
All
see the.
right.
I gotta see the cat.
Oh, the cat.
Oh,
Okay.
dog.
Well,
Hi,
it's going to
doggo.
be.
Oh,
Hey.
that's so cute. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
he's very humble.
Aw.
Seeing the cats, okay. Let me see. Uh, oh. And the cat. Yeah, so big family. The cat is not very happy. Okay.
Where's the cat? Oh, hi, kitty. Oh, they're all,
Yeah.
it's bedtime for both of them, huh?
Yeah. So they were actually sleeping. So now they are very grumpy. All right. Wow, you have already coded the whole application.
Well, no, I'm just trying things out here. I'm like, there's this new command completion stuff in IntelliJ, and I haven't really tried it out. Let's just try it and see if this code works. So I've created a repository to talk to the data access model. I'm going to run this program, and it should give us back all the dogs. There we are. There we got the dogs, and we can confirm as much by going here, clicking on this, clicking on test connection. Go play. Okay. Go over here. Got it. Go here, 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 and there's my dogs table, right? And you can see
Oh,
I've got a dog I want to adopt, so we can build an endpoint to adopt dogs. And his ID is 45. His name is Prancer, and he's described as a demonic, neurotic, man-hating, animal-hating, children-hating dog that looks like a gremlin. So, wow, this is a nice UI, very, very nice. Okay, so anyway, we're definitely connected. So let's build a simple controller, right? What is that? Controller. Thank you. Response body class dogs controller. We'll have an endpoint here. Actually, I need to inject the dog repository. So what I'm doing is I'm creating a new application. You know what I just realized? I'm using Spring Boot 4. In the earlier version of IntelliJ, I would
uh-huh.
have gotten there should be validation here. So one of the things that's nice about Spring Boot 4 is that we have JSpecify, like you said earlier. We have JSpecify,
Yeah.
and this is actually a set of annotations to restrict nullability in a program. And it actually, it's a group effort, right? With the Google, JetBrains, Microsoft, Oracle, Square, Uber, and of course the Spring team over at Broadcom, which is where I work. And it's a set of annotations that you can use to tell your build tooling and your IDE that there should not be allowed a nullable reference here, right? Or that there should be allowed a nullable reference. And in the earlier versions of IntelliJ, this would say, hey, you're not allowed a nullable reference, so you'd have to do this. But for some reason, it's not doing that anymore. I'm not sure what's going on there. I'm not sure if
Um,
I'm doing something wrong or what, but whatever. Okay, so I've got a controller, dogs, right? We'll just say return collection of dogs. Okay, return dot find all, and I'll say return that. Okay, and maybe I have an endpoint here to update to adopt dogs, right? So I'll say dog ID, adoptions, void adopt, path variable, int dog ID. and request param string owner, right? The new owner. And we'll say this repository that find my ID, dog ID. If the dog is present, we're gonna update it. So I'll say var updated equals this dot repository that save new dog, passing in dog.id, dog.name, dog.description. Oh, did I do the other fields there? No, I didn't. So it's name, description, and the final one will be the owner. Okay. So description and dog.owner, but I want to get the owner from the request. So adopted, updated. Okay, so there's the updated endpoint, and there's the adoption endpoint, and I'm injecting the repository. I guess we could try this out. Let's see if that works. 8080 dogs, 45 adoptions, owner equals Josh, and of course I'll post. Let me go just make sure that the dog has not been adopted. It's right now it says null. Okay. So post. Oh, there's a problem. We have security. I mean, that's not a problem. It's just a temporary thing we have to worry about for now.
Yeah.
We'll come back to that in a second. Reload that. Okay. And there it is. So it says I've adopted the dog. Great. And if I go here and I just try dogs, get the dogs via a get, that works as well. So that works just fine. But I've got this is the modern API, but not all APIs start off so good, right? So you might have older code, right? So you can imagine maybe I have an older endpoint that returns data about the dogs, but not all the data about the dogs. So dogs old, right? And maybe this is what I built a few years ago, right? I didn't build this today, of course, but in that version, I take the dog and I turn it into a map, and I say map.of, and I have the ID, and I say dog.id, and I say dog.name, and then I can have the full name and turn that into a list. Now, of course, this has to be cast down to object, otherwise the compiler infers serializable. So now I've got two different, this might be the old API, and if we comment this out and we reload, what does that give us? We go over here and we rerun the same query. There's the old API, but now I've got the new one I want to introduce, right? Like this. And how do I do that? Well, I want to introduce the new one, but I have old clients connecting to the old one. Well, now in Spring Framework 7, we have API versioning. So I can say this is version 1, and here's version 2 or 1.1 of the endpoint. And you have to tell the runtime which one should be the default. So I say API version is 1.0. No, that's it. Here, version API. There you go. Default is going to be 1.1. So if I reload this and I ask for nothing, I'll get the new one. Oh, I'll get the new one. Hello, what happened? Oh, I didn't specify a resolver. Okay. API version, use header, X dogs version. Okay. Neat. So I go here. Now I get, by default, I get the new endpoint. But if I say -H, is it like this? Maybe I do curl. I forget how to do headers in HTTPI. So dogs and X dogs version 1.0, right? And I get that, pass that to JQ, and there's the old one, right? So I can get the old one and I can get the new one. There are many different strategies here for version management. I'm using a header. Obviously, you could do, you could do media type, you could do path segment or a query parameter. So that works just nicely. And so that's API versioning, and I'm using Spring Data JDBC here to do my data access layer. And obviously, JetBrains now has new support for that. I have to check that out. But one of the nice things in Spring Data JDBC and in Spring Data in general is that we now have the ability to generate the repository. If you're using our GraalVM or our AOT support, we will generate, and you can use the native image kit, obviously, in Belsoft. If you are using those technologies with Spring, which we support, of course, you can have the repository implementation generated at compile time. So instead of us creating a proxy at runtime when the program starts up, we can actually code generate the repository for you. So let's say I go here and I have a new custom finder method, find by name, find by owner, let's say. Okay. So
Oh, we
yeah,
have the comment from Andrei Kogun from IntelliJ. Actually,
yeah.
IntelliJ do not provide unnecessary warnings anymore by default because it was a
Oh,
bit annoying when the warnings are appeared everywhere, but you can still switch it on. Thank you, Andrei, for the heads
yeah,
up.
it's super useful. That is nice. I love this new IntelliJ. It just
Yeah,
feels super nice. Okay,
yeah.
so I built the program, and I go to the target directory, and you can see that I didn't do a full GraalVM native image compilation. I could, but it would
Uh-huh.
take 30 seconds, whatever. But when I go to the sources folder, I have now the AOT repository. Is that it right there? Yeah, there. So there's my code generated
Mm-hmm.
repository, right? This is actually, so you can run this on JVM or you can run it in GraalVM, but the point is we're not doing this with reflection or cgenid proxies or anything. This is all code generated and then fed into the compiler. It's as though you wrote it. So this is both much faster. Well, it takes up less memory because of the reflection, but it's also a little bit faster, and it's also easier to debug, right? You can actually put a breakpoint
So
here
yeah, yeah.
and
So
see
and
what
so
happened.
you can use AOT repositories with the AOT cache, right? Feature that
Yeah.
was introduced in JDK 24. It was refined in 25, and in
Yes.
26 it will be further refined. So yeah, AOT cache. I mean, like it is super cool feature. So if
Hmm.
you can't use GraalVM native image for some reason or coordinate restore checkpoint, but you
Yep.
want to reduce the startup time of your application, AOT cache is part of the project laid, and that's the way to go, and
Yeah.
it's already slashes the startup times by like 50%, even sometimes bigger gains. And so with the AOT repositories, that's a win-win, right?
I'm a fan. So that's another feature in Spring Data, which is part of Spring Boot 4. Um, okay, so we got this. Now it's been I've been showing dogs, this entire time, obviously, and it can't always be dogs. Maybe there's gonna be cats or something, right? Come on. So
Maybe.
uh, excuse me. Let's see here. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This one.
Okay. So, friends, if you have any questions, for those of you who have just joined us, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to post them, and we will be happy
Yeah.
to answer them. Right? Or else
Right.
just post how are you, where are you joining us from, and whatever you want to actually share with
Yeah.
us. Yeah.
Sorry, I had to look up a URL. What I want to do is I want to build up a cat facts controller and provide information about cats by getting information from this URL here, right? So if you go
Uh-huh.
there and you look it up, you say catfacts.net and says, hey, in addition to their noses, cats can smell with
Ooh.
Jacobson's organ, which is located in the upper surface of the mouth. I don't know what that is, but nice. So I want to create a client to talk to that input, right? So I'll create a class here, I guess. I could say cat facts client, and I can inject the Spring Framework REST client like this, and I can add that as well. And then I can say, okay, here's a record cat fact that has a fact attribute, and I have an aggregate of that called cat facts, which takes a collection of cat fact, right?
Uh-huh.
And so I can imagine returning a collection of, no, it's just a cat fact, isn't it? It's just all that. Okay. Cat facts. So I want to build out this client, and it's not hard to do, I guess. It's not that bad, but so let's say I do get dot URI dot HTTPS www.catfacts.net API dot retrieve dot body cat facts, right? So I could do this, and then I can inject this. I can make this a Spring Bean and inject that in my controller here. So I can say private final cat facts client, okay. Add that to the constructor and create an endpoint here. And I'll just call this cats. Okay, it's not exactly cats, it's facts about cats, but it's almost the same. Okay, and return this dot client dot facts. Okay, so if I try that, what happens? If I go here to localhost 8080 / cats, I get sadness. Oh, I didn't define a bean of type REST client. No big deal. Just go up here, define this bean. Hello. Bean REST client Okay, rest client.builder, return builder.build. Okay. And there's you can see it's calling the downstream service, but I'm getting it from my local host. And that works just fine. But the problem is that this is a lot of code, right? I don't want to have to write that whole client each time I have to call an endpoint, especially since a lot of times it's pretty easy to figure out what is meant to be done. I just really want to specify the type of the thing I care about and the URL. So in Spring Framework 7, it's very easy now, much easier than ever before, to create a client declaratively, right? So I can just say, give me cat facts. Okay, please. Okay, and I will annotate this with get exchange, and I will paste this URL here. Okay. Yeah. Okay, and now I'm going to delete this code. I'm going to tell Spring to import this. So I'll say import HTTP services .class. Do I need that? Nope. Good. Okay. Import HTTP services, please. Thank you. So now I've got the same code. Let's try it again. I've done nothing besides type in that weird character. Here we go. And there we go. It's worked, right? Of course it worked. It was a demo. It was always going to work. But it is really, really concise, and you can scale this up. There's even a configurer, so you can say, okay, I've got these 10 interfaces, and they should be paired with this REST client, which has that OAuth configuration for the token exchange, and maybe this one has a mutual TLS, so I'll use a certificate or something. You can change which you can group them together. There's this concept of a group and so on and so on. It gets very, very productive. Okay, so I like this, and we're calling this downstream website. I use this website in all of my demos, but it is just somebody else's website, and I'm not paying for it, so I don't have any expectation that it'll be there forever. And more to the point, even if they are, even if they're like running the best software system in the world, things do fail. We saw that recently, like a few times recently. The AWS US East one outage. That's very sad, right? I mean, it happens. Even the best run data center in the world will sometimes fail, of course. And then we had Cloudflare, right? Like a lot of outages in the last 2 months.
Yeah, they already became a joke or something on X. People started joking like Cloudflare.
Which is a shame because it's like, look, I mean, things will happen. So in Spring Framework 7, we have this enable resilient methods. And so what I can do is I'm going to introduce a failure, artificial failure, in this method, but I'll make it retriable. Okay, I'm going to say I'm going to try 4 times, and I'm going to include as the it'll retry the call if there's an exception. Well, in this case, the exception will be an illegal state exception. Okay, and so I'm going to force an artificial. I'm going to fake an error because obviously that cat facts website is awesome and it just works. So atomic integer counter. Okay, good. And there's this, and it'll be 0. And so here I'll say if this dot counter dot get an increment is less than 4, then throw new illegal state exception. Okay. Oops. And I'm gonna like print out each time. So I'll say io.println, oops, and then I'll say io.println cat facts. All right. So here we go. Let's try that again. So now it's going to throw an exception. Here we go. Taking a lot longer, right? Just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Okay, and it did work, but we had to go through those different iterations before it did. So you can see that by having this there, we're able to guarantee it recovers if it needs.
Yeah. It's so laconic. I mean, just one line of code. So beautiful.
I love it. You've got things like jitter and the multipliers and all this other stuff. Another common use case is like not cat facts. Cat facts is awesome, but let's say there's some other website, and it's fragile. It falls down easily. I want to make sure that I don't overwhelm it, so I can use @concurrency limit, and this will limit the number of threads into this method to 10 threads. Right? So no more than 10 threads, no more than 10 calls to this endpoint, to this method will ever be handled at the same time. That way, I'm not sending more than 10 requests to the downstream thing, right, at the same time. So that's another nice feature here.
Nice.
Okay, so we've got robustness. We've got the API versioning, we got the controllers, we got our dogs, we got our AOT, we got our data, we've got JSpecify. I want to like I've got 20 more minutes, so we can focus on some making this more robust in the face of production
Uh-huh.
sort of systems, right? So there's a lot of small things here I'll mention. We have improved starters. So one thing we did in Spring Boot was we we moved the auto configuration. You know, if you know about Spring Boot, we have this. Well, I know you, Catherine. I know you know it, but for other people who may not know, there's this text file called autoconfiguration.imports. Okay, and it's in the
Mm-hmm.
meta-inf directory. So if you look at that, it says Spring Boot autoconfigure, and then there's a meta-inf directory. It's scrolling off to the side of my screen there, but meta-inf /spring. And any jar, all jars that any jar that wants to can have the same text file in the same place. And Spring Boot will load the text file. It'll find a class
Mm.
or multiple classes, right? Like this. Dot imports. Here we go. Here's a number of classes. It goes through and it tries to instantiate each class, right? And these classes are just auto configuration. They provide bean definitions, just like any other Spring Bean, right?
Yeah.
And they have these tests, and these tests are they evaluate whether something is true or not. And if it's true, for example, is this class called REST-client.class on the class path? That's what this test is. If it's true, then the class on which they sit will be created by auto configuration, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the result is that every single text file on the class path has classes, and every single class gets created, and all those tests get evaluated every single time you start up your program. Well, as you can imagine, with Spring Boot getting bigger and bigger and bigger, that means that you have more classes that have to be evaluated on every single startup. So
Yeah.
what we did was we moved all the different auto configuration. We used to have one big auto configuration, and now we have we have a bunch of starters, and each starter has auto configuration. So I added a bunch of starters here. REST client, I added WebMVC, I added the data JDBC, all that kind of stuff. And I'm only getting the auto config for that. I'm not getting auto config for Neo4j and for cloud,
Mm-hmm.
Couchbase or whatever, right? So I have much fewer things on the class path. And because I have now modular auto configuration, one of the things I can do is I can get clear signals from the developer. As a person building Spring Boot, we can get clear signals from the user about what they want by what they add to the class path. So, for example, one of the problems that we used to have before
Mm-hmm.
is if you used Spring Boot and the web stack, you'd bring in Spring Boot starter web. This brought in both your web MVC stuff and it brought in your REST clients stuff, right? And if you just wanted
Yeah.
to make a REST call, but you don't want to start a web server, then you had to set a property or something because we didn't know exactly what you were trying to do. But now we have separate dependencies, one for HTTP clients and the other one for the web server stuff, right? So that's another nice thing. And one of the nice things about that is that we have even better, more granular starters as well. So we have Spring Boot Starter Security, right? Which I
Mm-hmm.
need. But I also
Oh,
have the
wait a
Spring
second. Wait,
Security.
Josh, can I just a second? There's
Yeah,
a question from the audience about the
yeah.
retrieval. Jude Root asks, Josh, can you please add a test to prove that the expected exception is thrown after the configured number in retrieval? It feels like a bit testing getters and setters. It feels like a mandatory to test. So can
I
we
mean,
test that behavior? That yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I'll let you. You can see how to do it, right? Just inject the control.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, it'd be weird,
Yeah.
but inject the client, inject the service, and then call it and see if you get the exception or not. I mean, it wouldn't be that hard, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
and you'd have to, I guess you'd, if you wanted to do testing, you'd have to make this package private so you could access it or something like
Yeah.
that. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And I actually
Um,
had sorry, Josh, sorry.
sure.
Another question from me. So I was meant to ask you about this modularity. So
Yeah.
this very, very cool feature, but does it mean that there's a risk that something will break if people upgrade, devs upgrade from the previous version of Spring to Spring Boot 4? Is
Yeah.
this going to break something?
Well, the Maven coordinates will be different. Yeah, so the code itself is basically the same, but I don't know actually. Do we still have Spring Boot Starter Web? I don't even use that anymore. So Spring
Mm,
Boot Starter Web, can that
oh,
work?
yeah.
Oh, we do.
Ex-
We still have Spring Boot
Yeah.
Start Web, so no, nothing will break, I guess. I don't
Oh,
know.
great. So maybe
There,
like a kind of backwards compatibility, right?
yeah, but if you
Yeah.
go to
Mhm.
start.spring.io, you'll get a chance to choose MVC
Yeah.
versus the client and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But there is one potentially breaking change. Okay,
Uh-huh.
um, by default, Spring Boot 4 is using Jackson 3. Okay, um,
Mm-hmm.
this is this is different from Jackson 2. Jackson 2 has been around for like 8 years, right, or something like that, without a major release. So,
Oh, Dashawn is in the chat. Hello,
hey, buddy.
Dashawn. Hello. Welcome. Welcome. It's
So,
WebMVC before it was web. Yeah.
right. So
Right.
Jackson 2 has been around for 8 years, and it's not changed at all in that time. So they've been very good about maintaining this old code base. But it was finally time for a new version, and this version is very different. So um, we use Jackson 3 support by default,
Mm-hmm.
but there is a starter. I forget what it is. Maybe IntelliJ will show me. Spring Boot starter Jackson. Mm, I'm not sure what that brings you. Jackson 2 or something. I don't know, whatever. Check out the documentation. There is a starter that you can activate the old Jackson 2 support, but that should not be relied upon, right? If you can make this work in Jackson 3, you
Mm-hmm.
should. It is
Mm-hmm.
possible to have both Jackson 3 and Jackson 2 at the same time because they are both completely different Maven dependencies and completely different namespace, packages in
Mm-hmm.
Java. So you can
Mm-hmm.
have both, but you shouldn't do both. You should, if you can, you should move to 3. Okay, so don't
Yeah.
freak out if your code doesn't work in Jackson 3. Maybe you've got a lot of very specific Jackson 2 code. You can still add the starter, but you should plan on moving to Jackson 3 in the Spring Boot 4 and Spring Framework 7 generation. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's think about security here. Got
Mm-hmm.
13 minutes, and I want to get this thing to production. Um, so let's talk about security. I've got security on the class path, and where is that security here? I got security there, and
Yeah.
I love Spring Security. It's such an amazing project. So I'll say at configuration class security config security 2 configuration. Okay, and I'm going to create a Spring Bean for a customizer of type HTTP security. Okay, and I'll add a new customizer. And that's the wrong kind, isn't it? New this one customizer. There you go. Okay, I've imported the same thing twice. The wrong type. Where's customizer? Here. Don't need that. I do need this. Okay, so is that the right one? Surely.
Mm-hmm.
HTTP security. Hello? Did I do it again? No, it's right.
Um.
Okay, good. So, new. Okay, and I just implement the method surely. There we are. Okay, so I have a customizer here, and obviously this can be a lambda. We'll do that in a second. And this is different from normal Spring Security. Normally in Spring Security 6, you can do the old way, of course. It still works, but why would you want to if you can move to this? In this way, if you create a new Spring Security filter chain and you inject the Spring Security object, you will override the defaults that Spring Security has for you in Spring Boot. This bean is all or nothing. Either you do it or Spring Boot does it, but you can't do both. Well, I like the defaults, but I want to add to them. So this new approach is you create a customizer and it is additive, right? It adds to the existing config. So now I can actually take the security and I'm going to add new kinds of authentication and I'm going to add authorization over here. Authentication over here. So I'll say JDBC user details manager. I'm going to point this to my data source, which has my usernames and passwords there. And voila. Okay, so I'll inject that there, and I'm going to say I want to support, let's say, one-time tokens, right? One-time tokens are like magic links, right? I don't know if you've ever used Slack, but if you have,
Yeah.
then I'm sorry, right? It's bad
Well,
software,
it's
but
not the worst. It's not the worst, believe me.
no, it's not. It's just very close. So, one-time token generation success handler, right? Here we go. And the idea is that this callback gives me a chance to with Slack, you want to log in, you get an email and you click on the link in the email and suddenly you're signed into your workspace, right? And the same idea is very useful. So I don't like passwords. But if I have to use passwords, I'd rather that somebody else maintains the password. So maybe Google or Microsoft or Active Directory or Gmail, whatever. Maybe they have done a good job of making the users have good password hygiene. So I'm going to have the same concept here. I'll allow. There we go. This is a good example of where the JSpecify annotations would be very useful. Okay, so I want to make sure that people can log in, and so I'll create an endpoint here. I'll say get writer.println. You've got console mail. I'm not gonna set up SendGrid and Twilio, right? SendGrid for email and Twilio for SMS telephony. I'm not gonna set that up, but imagine I had this. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll send a message out of band, right? Out of band, so that the client knows that so that the user can authenticate by clicking on the link in their email, and if they are able to authenticate, if they have access to their email, then we can trust that they are who they say they are, right? So here's this endpoint here, text plain value, and we're going to print out a message here saying, please go to HTTP localhost 8080/login/OTT token equals one-time token.get token value. Okay, so that's the one-time token generation success handler, and it boils down to a nice clean little lambda like that. Okay, and this can be a underscore, and voila. There we go. So this is one kind of authentication. Obviously, this is a lambda as well. Whoa, it's getting a little. There we go. That's better. That's one. Another one that's very nice is WebAuthn or pass keys, right? So here I'm going to say I'm going to do OIDC. OID. What is the issue with this? New customizer, WebAuthn configure. Okay, this one dot configure. What's the issue here? HTTP security, WebAuthn configure, OIDC. I could have sworn this was there before. Did they move that method? It's supposed to be c.oidc.
We can look in the docs.
Well, yeah, but yeah, I guess HTTP security. That's bizarre. Did I get the wrong type of HTTP security? Well, okay, let's just try this one for now. I mean, I don't know, whatever. So we go here, incognito, localhost, 8080 dogs. Okay, I can log in with username and password. That's a default. There's the dogs, right? I go 8080 dogs again, and now I can do one-time token. I'll say my name is Josh. Send me it says you've got console mail. Okay, great. Let me go check my console mail. My email or my text message. Click on the link. Click on that. Log in. Okay, great. Okay, so now I've got two different ways to authenticate. Let me try this OIDC, this WebAuthn. Is it? Am I? Oh, is that it?
Could be.
Oh yeah, that's it. Okay, so allowed origins is localhost 8080. Okay, and I was thinking of the OAuth one. No wonder I was confused. RPD is localhost, and RP name is, I shall call it what is it? CyberJar. That's a nice name. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
So there's our refactored WebAuthn login. Okay. Go here. Now it says, hey, you want to log in with a passkey or a one-time token or a username and password. So I'm going to go here to my passwords application. Okay, and I've got some pass keys here. I'm going to delete this one. I hope it'll work. It does not work. Why can't I delete it? Very annoying. This one's been stuck here for a few days. I'll figure that out later. But I want to set up I need to set up a pass key. So I'll log in. And now I've gone there. I can go WebAuthn register. Okay, and it says, okay, MVP, that's my MacBook Pro, register. I use my fingerprint, right? Now I've got this. Now I've got two, right? I've got two passkeys.
Yeah.
So this was created today. This one's created yesterday. Can I rename this one? Why does it? I don't know why I can't delete it. I used to be able to delete it. Okay, so whatever. Go here, 8080. Now I can log in with passkeys. And I think the first one, hopefully, is the newest one. No.
No, the second one, I guess.
Okay. Log in with a passkey. Maybe it's the second one.
Fingers crossed.
What?
No, I guess it was the first one, but there was the white label error page, so maybe you didn't write the endpoint, or I don't know.
I
Or
don't.
redirect is not working. I don't know. Something.
Well, loud origins, local host. Everything's fine there. It's how
Hmm.
do I create it today? If I can rename this one. Oh, old. There.
Okay.
Save. Oh, oh, okay, that worked. Okay, so now I've just got the one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now, here we go. Log in. Log in with passkeys. Sign in for Josh. Okay, 404, that's fine. Go to dogs. Right, there we are. And so
Yeah.
let me create a quick endpoint here so
Yeah.
we can see that I'm actually authenticated. So class me controller at get mapping. Okay. Map of string hi, inject the principal, return a map of name principal.get name. Okay. And I'm going to go to me. Okay. So now I'll log in again with a passkey. Put the finger there. What am I doing wrong? Oh, it's in memory. Of course it is. Delete this again. Okay. Now because when I restart by default it's in memory. You can make the persistence durable if you want, but I have to do
Yeah.
that. Okay, register with this. MVP again. Fingerprint. Okay, good. Incognito window. Login to /me. And now I do sign with passkeys. Okay, there we go. So,
Yay!
oh, that was painful. So
Cool.
that's all. I've got one-time tokens. I've got passkeys, and that's nice. I've also got usernames and passwords. One of my favorite features in Spring Security 7 is multi-factor auth. So I can say I want the following authorities. I want to factor. Uh,
Josh, we got the question from the audience.
sure.
Halim Def writes, why both Spring AI and GPRC not compatible with Spring Boot 4, as far as I understand?
Spring
Mhm.
gRPC is compatible. It just released a few
Mhm.
days ago, right? 1.0.
Uh-huh.
Spring AI is, remember, it's a release train. So the real
Yeah.
question is, why does one not yet work? Spring AI, we just released it 2.0 milestone 1. I
Mm-hmm.
think it was this
Mm-hmm.
week. So that'll
Yeah.
come, it'll be GA in early 2026. But you got to remember there's a dependency matrix here, right? So like for example, Spring Framework is the lowest dependency. Everything depends on that. And then you get projects like Spring Data, Spring Security, Spring Integration, Spring Boot, Spring Batch, etc. Right? All these projects.
Yeah.
Then we've got Spring Boot, which depends on everything beneath it. And then you've got the so-called post-boot projects like Spring AI, Spring Cloud, and Spring Modular. And for the moment, Spring gRPC. But the original intent was for Spring gRPC to be in this group down here, right? So eventually,
Uh-huh.
I hope it'll go down here, and then it'll just be part of Spring Boot instead, right? But for the moment,
Mm.
at this moment, right now, for the very first 1.0 GA version of Spring gRPC, it has to be released up here. So that's the answer to the question. Um, so yeah, so we've got multi-factor auth, and the reason that's nice is you
Mm-hmm.
can say, hey, I want to log in, but I need a very strong signal that this user is who they say they are. So I can go
Mm-hmm.
here and I can say, okay, log in with this. Great. It's now asking me for one-time token. Great. I go to the console mail, get this, copy and paste that, and paste, and now input the token. I know. What did I do wrong? Did I create a new incognito? window.
Could be.
I didn't I? Let me do this. Let me go back here. Me. Okay, close that. Incognito window. Josh, PW. Fine. Okay, send me a token. Thank you. I've got console mail. Go here, copy and paste. Same window. Send. Why is it doing that? What did I do wrong? I don't know. I'll figure it out later. Okay, maybe it's the other way around. I don't know. That's weird. I've never seen that. Oh, authorization. Oh, that's because that makes no sense. Username and okay. Sorry, I should not be doing answering questions. That's why it doesn't know what to do with that other one. That's not valid. So I have to. I'm asking for one-time tokens and usernames and passwords. That makes sense. The other thing I put in there makes no sense at all. So, 500th time, Josh PW. Fine. Send the token. Fine. Got console mail. Click on this. Go here. Hit sign in, and there we are. I'm authenticated. So multi-factor auth is one of those things where I can use the different authentication attempts as a sign that to be more and more confident that the user is who they say they are. So these are just some of my favorite features in the Spring Boot 4 release. Obviously, there's a whole bunch of stuff above Spring Boot 4. Like I said, Spring gRPC and Spring AI and Spring Modular and Spring Cloud that are all of that except for Spring AI is now GA. So you can use GA, Spring Cloud, GA, Spring Boot, Spring Modular 2.0, GA, Spring gRPC 1.0. All that is already GA.
There's another question from Halim. So why Spring does not integrate Lang Chain4j with Spring AI? It's a nice question because they're two different projects, right?
Right. Yeah. That's this. It's like there's no point, right? We do the same things. It's just we have our own perspective on how to do them, so we like our approach. But we hope you'll use Spring AI.
Hey, how can you change the login page? Another question from the audience.
Well, it's in the docs, but it's all white label. Everything in Spring Security is white label. So there's pages that you can, the login for the web authn, for the registration screen, for the one-time token, all that is skinnable. You can change everything about it. You can even provide the URLs yourself. I mean, it's all very, very customizable, but we get default out of the box white label. I don't remember exactly what it is, but I think if you have a template of a certain well-known name and you put it in the right folder, you'll get the right page or whatever. But yeah, just check the docs. I'm sorry, I don't know offhand.
Oh, yeah. And there is another question from the audience. So what are the best practices for API versioning? So we have X API version, URL path versioning, and the accept header. What would you recommend to use, especially in combination with Open API?
I mean, it really is up to you. I mean, Open API, I don't know much about how that would interact with this question. But I know Stripe, they came out with a lot of the original sort of discussion on API versioning. From our perspective, we don't really want you to be in a situation where you need API versioning, right? We have been talking about Spring hypermedia as the engine of application state, right? And we've always been sort of very contract first in all the different protocols that we support. Contract first. So if we're doing SOAP, please don't. If you're using gRPC, if you're doing even REST, we have Spring Cloud Contract, right? Which gives you contracts. GraphQL, it's all schema first, and you should be very deliberate about how you build the endpoints. So I'm a big believer that you should build the schema, the contract first, and then from that you can build the API. And if you're using hypermedia, if you're using Spring HiOS, it's easy to build in based on content type. It's easy to build in sort of services that gracefully evolve. Same thing for gRPC. It's got the ability to, even if you add new things, as long as the other things are in the same order as they're supposed to be, things will evolve. So you shouldn't need to have version management, but if you do, it's nice to have that. And we support all four very common choices. And there's also Spring Cloud Gateway. This is the other thing I forgot to mention. Spring Cloud Gateway is an API gateway, and it also has API versioning based on the same engine that we just introduced in Spring framework that I just showed you.
Mhm.
So you can do routing at the proxy level using those same heuristics and same capabilities.
Mhm. Wow, that's amazing. That's so cool. Thank you, Josh. I mean, Spring Boot is absolutely beautiful, beautiful,
Good.
as we could say. So many new exciting features. What would you think is the first thing developers need to audit before upgrading to Spring Boot 4? So, what should they keep in mind?
Jackson's the only thing I would be aware of, but even that, like, it's not a huge. Uh, like I said, I think for a lot of people it'll be just fine. Um, yeah, I would just look for the Jackson stuff. That's the only thing I'd be aware of. If you have a lot of Jackson code, be aware that there's a backwards compatible Jackson too. We didn't change anything. Like we've had some bumps in the road before because of the Jakarta EE migration from Java EE and 3.0. And then before that, if you wanted to do reactive, that's a totally different programming model. But we didn't force you to do that. Obviously, you could stay where you were. So we are pretty backwards compatible on Spring itself. But sometimes we have external libraries, right? Like uh, you know like
Yeah,
Jakarta and like Jackson
yeah.
and so on. And that's okay. They have to change. That's okay. Another example of this is a Hibernate 7 is
Mm.
now,
Mhm.
Hibernate, they sometimes it feels like they just released brand new versions that break everything on a Wednesday just because, and so it's
Yeah.
just be careful. Hibernate 7 is it's pretty tame though. This has been a pretty good release in terms of things I would be a little bit worried about. And Jackson's the only one I
Mhm.
can think of, and that is, you know,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
What's
Others
to
not
what we expect to
expect to see
see.
in Spring gRPC with boot.
Is the question server send events or
What to
what we
expect
expect is
as
new
new
features?
features? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, it's the same features as so. This is the first GA version of uh, Spring gRPC. It's been in development for more than a year, and it has um, it has security support, so you can do
Mm-hmm.
Spring Security. You can lock it down. There's even OAuth support. It works in GraalVM native images. We got that working. We have observability with Actuator in the micrometer specification and sorry technologies. We have support for I mean, Dr. Dave Sire, he's one of the people working on it. He's the founder of the project. He came on my little channel a little while ago, and he showed like a controller like component model for gRPC. So instead of doing code generation, which is the default, and that's what you would normally do, and you can
Mm-hmm.
do that, of course,
Yeah.
instead of doing
Yeah.
code generation, you just take a regular component, you annotate it with like an annotation, like just like Spring MVC or Spring GraphQL or whatever, and you get a gRPC endpoint. At least I think so. I might be misremembering. So I'm not sure if that's in the GA 1.0 or if he decided not to do that, but I would love to see that land. But yeah, it's a rich integrated ecosystem, and we also automatically integrate. If you're using Tomcat, we automatically set up the HTTP integration for gRPC, and if we're using Netty by itself without a web server, we set up the Netty integration for gRPC. So the usual ease of use and developer ergonomics that you expect from Spring.
Okay, cool. I've been meaning to ask you, are there any novelties in build packs with Spring Boot, or everything stays the same just right now?
Last I checked, it's fine. Yeah, same
Yeah.
as before.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
maybe there's something. I mean, I
I don't know.
think at some point there's going to be the AOT cache, like with the CDS enabled, right? So
Yes.
you can do that with just one option, and I think with AOT cache it's going to be like that, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully, just like IoT compilation on GPA repos, can we expect that for REST client interfaces and other components?
I
Just a question. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's something we've looked at. I don't know if that. I don't know if we've. I don't know what we. I wouldn't expect anything. I don't know what. I don't. I can't commit, but it's certainly something we'd be willing to look at, right? I mean, uh, uh, we there's a lot of code generation possibilities here, and it's not a matter of what can we do. We have lots of great ideas. It's just a matter of like where do we start. But
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Well, as I mentioned, build packs. It just came to me that I have to say that Bellsoft have upgraded their own build pack. So
nice.
Liberica is used by default in Spring Boot build packs, and we have already our own build pack with Liberica and Alpaca Linux. So you can change the builder in your Maven or Gradle plugin or with a packly, and you get the Spring Boot container images like maybe 40% smaller because of the
Nice.
Alpaca Linux. Yeah, so and we added the support for Java 25, and well, finally you can use that as well to build small, efficient Spring Boot containers. So very
Oh,
proud
I
of
love
that.
this. So I learned a
Yeah.
few things today. That's awesome.
Oh, at least something. And then speaking of containers, then in this case, we also introduced hardened container images. That's for the security, enhanced security, right? So they are immutable, continuously updated. They are clean of known CVEs from the very start, right? So you can use the base image as a hardened base image with Liberica GDK and Alpaquita, and then your base image is going to be free of CVs, right? And this is just beautiful because you're not going to have this headache of constant CVE flows that you don't know how to manage, right? That's just going to be clean, transparent images, and that's also very, very important step for us
Yep.
too. So yeah, use Spring Boot 4, right? So friends, migrate to Spring Boot 4. Oh, Josh, you have disappeared. Or is it already night? Do you know? Yeah. Josh. Okay, I think Josh is going to come back. Hopefully. Right. Well, friends. Anyway, migrate to. Okay. Hi, Josh. Hi again.
Hi. Sorry about that.
Something. Yeah, that's okay. So migrate to Spring Boot 4. Right. So upgrade as far as soon as possible. Yeah. Get the build packs. So just get rid of Docker files. Migrate to build packs, right? Because just as our common friend says, friends don't let friends use Docker files, right?
Yeah.
Hello, Deshaun again. To you, if you're still watching, and also is an alternative. Migrating to hardened base images for enhanced security is also a way to go. So it's Josh, you're right. It's a great time to be a Java developer and Spring Boot developer. So many
Amazing.
new features, so great performance of Java, and so easy to use Spring Boot. I mean,
Right.
the development process is just the joy, the constant joy, actually, right now. And it's thank you, and to Spring team for making that happen, for
Yeah.
building this beautiful Spring Boot project for this framework. It's
They're
so
firing in
amazing.
all cylinders.
Yeah. It's fantastic how many things can be demonstrated just in a few minutes. Thanks a lot. Love improvements in Spring Security. Yeah, thank you, Josh. I mean, your speed is amazing. I mean, it's
It's
legendary.
spring.
You're legendary. Your speed is amazing. I mean, I think slower than you code. So
Oh
it's
please. Oh come on. But
yeah.
actually, even with my speed, I'm still running late for my next thing. I'm so sorry. Um,
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. So
so
let's yeah. Let Josh go.
happy
Thank you
holidays
so
to you,
very
my
much.
friend.
Thank you. So
Thank
bye
you.
bye everyone. Bye bye.
Bye bye.